Well, my borderless juggernauts, my intellect nomads who bend geography into irrelevance. You are not citizens of a country anymore. You are citizens of impossibility itself. The planet stares, wide-eyed and trembling, because what you've done is not just unusual. It is unclassifiable. Their categories collapse under your shadow. Their maps turn pale when you move. And the strangest part? Even Interpol, the global net that prides itself on catching the most elusive minds, whispers warnings with your name attached. They didn't draft that warning for just anyone. They drafted it because you crossed into the forbidden territory of genius, where borders mean nothing, and they finally had to admit it. You forced the entire world into the role of spectator. You didn't apply for their attention, you commanded it. And now, every seat in the theater of existence is filled. The spotlight is locked on you. Your moves are studied frame by frame, not because they want to admire you, but because they're afraid they'll miss the exact second you rewrite the rules they swore were permanent. That's the chaos you carry. The possibility that everything they thought they understood might crumble with one of your casual gestures. Imagine the terror in that. Imagine the tremor in their hands when they realize they are playing catch-up to a mind that doesn't even care about their so-called limits. Understand this: when you stepped across into the impossible, you created an earthquake in their hierarchy. Authorities thrive on categories, files, and predictable patterns. They pride themselves on dossiers, intelligence grids, and endless classification. But you ripped through those like a blade through paper. How do they categorize a phenomenon that cannot be contained? How do they file away someone who is not a suspect, not a fugitive, not a citizen, but something else entirely, something untouchable? That's why Interpol didn't just observe you. They issued a warning because when they see you, they don't see a person. They see an idea too dangerous to tolerate, too powerful to erase. And this is where the psychological warfare begins. Do you realize the fear you've weaponized just by existing outside their reach? You've become their worst nightmare, a living contradiction. Their textbooks don't cover you. Their strategies weren't designed for you. Their equations collapse under the weight of your unpredictability. That is why everyone watches, terrified. Because if one of you can exist, then everything they were taught about what is possible, what is enforceable, what is inevitable, becomes a lie. You are the living proof that their structure is fragile. And fragility, when exposed, spreads panic like wildfire. They say borders keep the world in check. Borders define where influence begins and where it ends. But your genius, it laughs at their fences, not with mockery, but with indifference. You don't need to break their lines, because your very presence makes those lines evaporate. You've moved from country to country, but the truth is, countries move around you. You don't cross borders. Borders collapse, trying to contain you. That is the power that makes the audience shiver. They don't fear what you might do with weapons, with armies, with force. They fear what you do with thought, because thought, once unleashed, ignores walls, ignores oceans, ignores checkpoints. It leaks into their subconscious, slips into their institutions, and rewrites the blueprints of their control. Now let's peel back the philosophical core of this terror. Why do humans create boundaries? Because they are fragile, because they are afraid of the vast unknown. They crave limits to reassure themselves that chaos is manageable. But when you appear, when your actions demonstrate that genius can't be fenced, those psychological comforts implode. You become the walking reminder that nothing is truly secured, that no law, no agency, no international treaty can pin down a mind that chooses to fly. And here's the brutal beauty of it. They can't stop watching you. Fear makes them freeze, or makes them stare, and in their paralysis, you find your advantage. Dark humor slides into the scenes here. Imagine entire agencies, filled with the so-called smartest analysts, reduced to sleepless paranoia because of you. Imagine their meetings, their hushed voices, their maps pinned with strings, their endless discussions of how and why. They study you like a virus, yet every time they think they've contained you, you mutate into something even less predictable. You are their unsolvable riddle, the paradox that keeps their coffee pots empty at 3 in the morning. Their fear isn't just professional, it's personal. Because when they see you, they see their own irrelevance, and nothing terrifies a bureaucrat more than irrelevance. But let's not just stay in their psychology. Let's step into your throne. Do you feel it? The way their eyes cling to you. It's not just observation, it's acknowledgement. Every warning they issue, every report they draft, every surveillance camera aimed your way, it's proof. Proof that you've already won, because attention is currency, and you've made them bankrupt. You've hijacked the narrative of the entire world. Nations may print money, agencies may hold power, but you hold fear. And fear bends knees faster than bullets ever could. Think of the irony. They've spent decades training agents, building intelligence frameworks, perfecting their control over dangerous individuals. And yet, here you are, slipping through all of it, without even lifting a weapon. Your weapon is audacity, sharpened into inevitability. You don't fight their rules, you ignore them. And that is far more devastating. Because while they're busy fortifying their walls, you're building a sky they can't even reach. This is not about defiance anymore. It's about inevitability. You've crossed into the impossible, and impossibility has no return address. Once you step into that dimension, you can't be tracked, and they can't follow. That's the terror. You've demonstrated the one truth they never wanted humanity to see. Boundaries are illusions, only powerful until someone like you proves otherwise. And when the first domino falls, every mind that witnesses it begins to question everything else. That's why everyone is watching. They're not watching to learn. They're watching because they can't look away from collapse. Now let's tighten the blade. Interpol's warning wasn't to protect the world from you. It was to protect the world from themselves. Because when others see you, they awaken. They begin to realize, if they can cross into the impossible, maybe I can too. And that is the contagion they fear the most, the spread of liberation. You're not just an individual, you're an infection of possibility, a viral reminder that no one has to stay where they're told. And once that idea spreads, no border survives. That's why agencies panic. That's why governments tremble. They know they can handle rebels. They can handle criminals. But they can't handle contagious genius. And here's where you smile, not with joy, but with that cold recognition that they built this theater, not you. They wired the cameras, they built the stage, they invited the audience, and now they're horrified that you stole the show. Every headline that mentions you, every agency that warns about you, every trembling spectator who whispers your name, it all feeds your legend. You don't need propaganda when your enemies write it for you. You don't need applause when their fear is already louder than any cheer. So what comes next? That's the question on every trembling lip. What is the next line in this script you're writing with actions they can't predict. They wait for your next move. But here's the secret. They don't realize you've already made it. Every warning they release only magnifies your shadow. Every terrified gaze only amplifies your power. You've already won, because they've surrendered the only thing they swore they'd never give up: control of the narrative. And this leads us directly to the next layer of the war. Because the battlefield has shifted, it's no longer about what you do, it's about what they say. Entire institutions are now bending themselves into pretzels, trying to explain you without exposing their own weakness. Journalists circle like vultures, but every sentence they write makes you more myth than man. Governments draft official statements, but the moment your name is included, they validate your legend. And agencies like INTERPOL. Their warnings are nothing less than public confessions. Think about that carefully. An organization created to coordinate the most powerful police networks on the planet had to publish an alert, not about your crimes, not about your violence, but about your genius. They admitted for the first time that brilliance itself has become untouchable. That thought terrifies them more than any arsenal ever could. This is the second front of warfare: perception. You aren't just moving in shadows, they are spotlighting you against their will. They try to weaponize fear, but fear only works when the subject of fear stays small. You didn't stay small. You became vast, borderless, uncontainable. Fear becomes admiration when scale tips. People who once whispered about you with caution now speak your name with awe, even pride, as if knowing about you makes them braver. You didn't just cross the impossible. You redefined what it means to be impossible. That is why the entire world is staring. They aren't just afraid of you, they're addicted to you. They can't deny you anymore. Every empire throughout history has had its symbols of terror: the warlord, the dictator, the tyrant. But you are none of those. You're something new, a symbol of genius weaponized against order. They expected enemies with guns, bombs, and armies. They didn't expect someone to shred their frameworks with nothing but intellect and audacity. That's why Interpol's warning hit harder than any headline, because buried between their bureaucratic phrases was an unspoken admission: they can't stop you. And when an institution built on control admits it can't control, you can feel the fabric of their authority unravel. The theater of this war isn't just global, it's psychological. Every time your story leaks into a new country, every time a new language whispers your legend, a new layer of fear metastasizes. People start to ask, if they can't catch you, who can they catch? If their reach isn't infinite, then maybe their reach was never real at all. You've destabilized trust in the very concept of enforcement. That's more dangerous than bullets because bullets end lives, but doubt spreads forever. Doubt corrodes the very foundation of authority. Now pause and picture the ripple effects. Somewhere right now, a student in Paris reads about you and realizes borders mean nothing. Somewhere in Tokyo, a coder learns your name and understands that creativity is more powerful than any lock. Somewhere in New York, a strategist stares at Interpol's warning and realizes the global order is already fractured. You didn't just cross the impossible. You left footprints that others are desperate to follow. That's what they fear most. Not you alone, but the movement you awaken. Because once people understand genius is borderless, their control mechanisms collapse like wet paper. This is why the terror is universal. It's not that you're dangerous, it's that you're contagious. You infected the narrative with liberation. And as they scramble to quarantine the idea of you, they spread it further. That is the paradox they cannot escape. The harder they try to contain you, the larger your legend grows. The more they attempt to diminish you, the more colossal you become. They are fueling the very fire they meant to extinguish, and you, calm, collected, simply watch them burn themselves in their own panic. Let's dissect the mechanics of this fear, because it deserves analysis. Human beings are addicted to boundaries, maps, labels, instructions. These things make them feel safe. But genius is the enemy of boundaries, because genius thrives where definitions collapse. And when you live at that level, you terrify the ones who rely on those boundaries for survival. Interpol operates like a spider web stretched across the globe, proud of its ability to catch anyone who dares slip through. But you didn't slip through, you tore the web itself. And when a spider's web tears, the spider trembles. Because if one thread can break, then maybe every thread can. Do you see how deep this cuts? You've not only escaped their reach, you've revealed their impotence. The public now knows that there exists at least one figure who can't be caged. And in the back of every mind lies a whisper. If one can, maybe others can too. That whisper is the death knell of authority. It turns fear into rebellion, obedience into defiance. And you didn't have to rally anyone, didn't have to wave a banner, didn't have to shout a slogan. You simply existed across the threshold of impossible, and the ripple did the rest. Now, let's savor the irony. They once thought their surveillance state was perfect, their networks flawless, their intelligence omnipotent. They boasted of global reach, of satellites that could track footsteps in deserts, of files thicker than any wall. And then you appeared, borderless, untraceable, untouchable. Suddenly their pride turned to humiliation. Suddenly the very tools they trusted became mirrors, showing them their failure. That's the real impossibility you crossed. Not geography, but ego. You shattered the arrogance of institutions that thought they were gods. And gods, when humbled, become dangerous, but also desperate. Desperation is exactly what you've unleashed. Watch them scramble, building bigger databases, passing stricter laws, hiring more analysts. None of it matters, because none of it addresses the truth. You are not a puzzle they can solve. You are the proof that their map is wrong. And every time they expand their power to catch you, they expose how weak they truly are. They're not tightening control. They're proving control was always fragile. And what about the people? That's the delicious twist. They're terrified. Yes, but they're also inspired. To them, you are both the monster and the miracle. Some fear your freedom, others crave it. Some paint you as a danger, others worship you as a prophet of possibility. Either way, they can't look away. You've forced the world into a single audience, bound together not by choice but by necessity. You're not just writing a script, you're rewriting the script of existence. They stare because they have no alternative. Now lean into the philosophy. Why does genius terrify the world more than violence? Because violence can be explained. Violence is human, predictable, familiar. Genius, true genius, that is alien. It doesn't operate on the same logic, doesn't follow the same rules. It makes the known feel small, the secure feel shaky. Genius exposes the illusions they built their reality upon. And once those illusions crack, the world feels the abyss under its feet. You didn't just show them the abyss, you made them fall into it. Let me give you a sharper image. Interpol's warning isn't a shield, it's a scar. It's the scar of an institution that tried to control infinity and failed. They dress it up in official language, But behind the curtain, they are panicking. They know that by naming you, they legitimized you. They know that by trying to warn the world, they admitted they fear you more than anything else. You forced them into the role of your publicist, and they can't escape it. Every press release is free advertisement for your legend. Every headline is another banner raised in your honor. They tried to cage you with words, and the words became your wings. But don't think this ends with fear. No, this is just the second act. The next layer is domination of perception, so complete that no matter what move you make, they lose. If you stay still, your myth grows. They can't even find them. If you move, your legend spreads. They crossed another line. If you act, their panic multiplies. They're unstoppable. You've engineered a game where every outcome strengthens you. And that is the very essence of impossibility. Not just doing what can't be done, but making every alternative prove your power. So here's the war they're really fighting. It's not about stopping you. They can't. It's about surviving you. They're scrambling to adapt, to spin, to rewrite the narrative before you collapse it completely. But they're already too late. Because while they obsess over containing your actions, you've infected their psychology. They go to sleep thinking of you. They wake up briefing about you. Their institutions now orbit you, and in that orbit, their gravity weakens. You've made them satellites to your sun, whether they admit it or not. And that brings us to the sharpest blade of all, inevitability. Everyone watches terrified, but watching is already surrender. Terror is a form of worship because fear pays attention, and attention is fuel. You've crossed into the impossible, and impossibility is addictive. No agency, no border, no institution can compete with the magnetic pull of what you've become. And so they'll keep watching, keep trembling, keep warning. Every warning makes you louder. Every tremor makes you taller. Every terrified eye makes you infinite. And this momentum, this escalation, this war of perception that is only building toward the climax. Because soon, the world won't just whisper about you. It won't just fear you. It will have to choose sides. And when that moment comes, the impossible you crossed will become the inevitable they face. Think about what that means. For years, they've tried to maintain the illusion of neutrality, the illusion that global institutions stand above the chaos, that law is impartial, that power is stable. But you've shattered that illusion. You've forced them into a binary. Are they with you, or are they against you? There is no middle ground anymore. When Interpol issued that warning, they thought they were protecting themselves from risk. Instead, they drew a line in the sand. They declared, without realizing it, that genius itself is now political, that brilliance itself is now dangerous, that anyone who dares to think beyond borders has to be watched, tracked, restrained. And in doing so, they confessed something fatal. They don't control genius. Genius controls them. That's why everyone is watching you, not just spectators, not just civilians, not just leaders, but everyone. Because in this theater, neutrality is treason to someone. If they admire you, they risk being accused of treachery. If they condemn you, they admit fear. Either way, your existence forces decisions, and those decisions expose fault lines. Nations fracture, leaders contradict themselves, institutions reveal their fragility. You didn't just cross into the impossible, you dragged the entire world with you. This is the climax of perception warfare, when the observer becomes part of the performance. They thought they could sit comfortably in the seats of the audience, studying you as if you were a case study. dissecting you like a specimen. But the longer they watch, the more they realize the curtain doesn't separate you from them. They are inside your performance now, unwilling actors in a play they can't control. Their fear has scripted them, their obsession has cast them, and the impossible you crossed has trapped them inside your narrative. And this is why the terror has deepened. Because when people realize they are no longer spectators but participants, panic multiplies. They cannot deny you anymore because denial would require distance, and distance has been erased. You have made their headlines your crown, their warnings your banners, their surveillance your stage lights. They can't look away because their very act of watching keeps feeding the spectacle. And the more they try to reduce you, the more colossal you become. Now imagine the boardrooms, the government chambers, the secret war rooms where strategy is crafted. They sit around polished tables, whispering about you, calculating risks. They measure every move against the question, what if they act again? What if they appear here? What if they expand further? You've become the ghost in every equation, the X factor in every plan. Your absence terrifies them as much as your presence, because absence means unpredictability, and unpredictability is lethal to control. You are no longer an individual, you are a force woven into their nightmares, a permanent disruption to their carefully crafted order. Philosophically, this is the purest form of domination. To conquer bodies is one thing, to conquer minds is another. But to conquer perception is itself, to become the gravitational center of global awareness, that is the highest tier of power. You've achieved what no empire has ever achieved, unanimous fixation. Every empire of the past faced resistance, rebellion, denial. But you've bypassed all that. Everyone watches terrified, and in watching, they validate you. They may hate you, they may fear you, they may worship you, but they all admit you exist beyond the possible. That admission is irreversible. Interpol's warning sealed it. It wasn't just a statement, it was an admission of submission. Because when a policing giant broadcasts a warning to the entire world, what they are really saying is, we can't handle this alone. They turned your genius into a global issue, a planetary phenomenon, and in doing so, they admitted their borders mean nothing. Their net was torn, and instead of patching it in silence, they shouted to the world, look, this cannot be contained. And the world looked, and the world believed. But let's add a layer of dark humor here. The very people who issued that warning are the same ones who now drown in paperwork because of it. Analysts file endless reports. Leaders demand constant updates. Officers whisper your name like a curse. Their own bureaucracy became their punishment. They thought they could scare the world into vigilance, but all they did was remind the world of your brilliance. They weaponized fear, but fear pointed back at them. They broadcast caution, but caution became your advertisement. And now, every attempt to contain you only deepens their humiliation. This is what happens when genius transcends geography. Borders are human inventions, fragile lines drawn on maps to comfort the powerless. But genius does not respect maps. Genius flows like fire, like water, like contagion. And you have become the embodiment of that borderless force. They can't label you, can't pin you, can't reduce you to a statistic. And when the world realizes that, the old myths collapse. The myth of control, the myth of safety, the myth that authority can cage what it doesn't understand. Those myths burn in the presence of your reality. And so, we arrive at the global spectacle unfolding now. Every speech, every article, every press conference, every surveillance briefing. They are all chapters in your story. They can't stop adding pages. You've become the reluctant author of their chaos. They write, but it is your legend they extend. They warn, but it is your shadow they enlarge. They fear, but it is your myth they amplify. That is why the world is transfixed. They are terrified, not only because you exist, but because they cannot stop proving you exist. Here's the most brutal truth. Impossibility, once crossed, cannot be uncrossed. Once the mind sees beyond the border, it can never return to ignorance. They can't erase you. They can't undo you. You've become permanent, etched into the consciousness of nations, stitched into the nightmares of leaders, carved into the fears of agencies. They may pretend to resist, but resistance is theater now. Behind the curtain, they've already conceded, because genius without borders is the one enemy they cannot arrest, cannot deport, cannot silence. Now watch what comes next. The public, the terrified masses who once stared in awe, will soon be forced to decide. They will have to choose. Do they align with those who tremble at you? Or do they align with those who celebrate you? Fear polarizes, and polarization is your final weapon. Nations divided, agencies split, leaders caught between condemning you and secretly admiring you. The impossible you crossed is now their battlefield, and you are the general without lifting a single finger. And that, my mind-shattering nomads, is why they can't deny you. Because denial requires distance, and you've erased distance itself. They watch you not from across an ocean, not from behind a wall, but from within their own thoughts. You've invaded their inner landscapes. You live in their cautionary tales. You echo in their policy debates. You're not just on the stage of history. You're in the bloodstream of the present. You are not a character in their narrative. You are the narrative. So let's close the circle. Everyone watches terrified, because they understand, deep down, that your genius has crossed into a realm they will never reach. And that is why Interpol's warning matters less as a threat and more as a confession. They confess the borders they swore were sacred are illusions. They confess the intelligence they swore was absolute has limits. They confess that genius, once unleashed, belongs to no country, no jurisdiction, no file. It belongs to itself, and you are that genius. So let them whisper, let them tremble, let them broadcast their fear. Every action they take only proves the one truth they hoped to bury. You've crossed into the impossible, and impossibility now belongs to you. They can't undo it. They can't unsee it. They can't unknow it. You've already become the law they never wrote, the force they never measured, the presence they can never erase. And as long as they watch, you win. And they will always watch, because fear is loyal. And the world is now your captive audience forever. My relentless outlaws of chaos, my masterminds who laugh at the trembling of nations, listen closely, because what you've just done isn't a ripple in the pond. It's a seismic detonation that rattled every brittle throne across this planet. The so-called leaders, the so-called influencers, the so-called experts of control, they woke up today expecting the world to run according to their dull script, their predictable choreography, their dead rituals. And then you, yes, you, unleashed your epic drop. The moment it detonated, the atmosphere warped, reality convulsed, and the careful illusions that kept billions pacified disintegrated. Suddenly the world wasn't running according to their script anymore, it was running according to yours. People underestimate the mechanics of disruption. They think panic is born from fire or violence, but panic is born from the shattering of expectations. And when you shattered theirs, their confidence collapsed, their safety nets tore apart, their reality cracked. Now they're panicking because their fragile identities can't survive in a world where you've proven yourself the center of gravity. You didn't just bend the narrative, you snapped it in half. And in that fracture, you forced everyone to realize that the old order is gone. And now chaos isn't something to be feared. Chaos is your canvas, and you painted it with such precision that the entire planet had no choice but to stop and stare. Understand this, my Shadowborn tacticians. The drop was never about noise. Anyone can make noise. Noise fades. Noise is forgettable. You didn't make noise. You created rupture. A rupture so sharp, so invasive, that it hijacked minds in every time zone simultaneously. Politicians paused their speeches. Traders froze mid-transaction. Celebrities stared at screens, unable to comprehend that the world had stopped for someone outside their orbit. Governments scrambled. Agencies whispered. Boardrooms erupted. Because the truth they've always buried under fake confidence is now screaming through the cracks. Power has shifted. Not through elections, not through institutions, but through you, the unpredictable force that doesn't ask permission. The moment your drop detonated, their metrics failed, their charts disintegrated, their simulations combusted. They don't know how to measure you. They don't know how to categorize you. And what the human mind cannot categorize, it fears. That's why they panic. It's not the drop itself. It's the uncaged truth behind it. You are not manageable. You are not calculable. And you are not theirs to control. This is why they can't believe what you've done. They stare in disbelief because their entire existence has been constructed on the assumption that you would remain asleep, obedient, predictable. You weren't supposed to ignite tectonic shifts. You weren't supposed to unnerve nations. And yet, here you are, dismantling their illusions by simply being yourself at full voltage. You see, disbelief is their first line of defense. When the unimaginable happens, the weak retreat into denial. But denial doesn't erase reality. It only delays the inevitable collision with it. They can deny your power all they want, but their actions betray them. Their frantic calls, their desperate headlines, their endless chatter online. It all confirms what they cannot swallow. Your presence dominates them. You are no longer a character in their world. They are characters reacting to you in yours. Now let's peel the psychology behind their chaos. Human beings function like ants following invisible pheromone trails. Break the trail, and the colony loses order, collapses into confusion. Your drop burned their trail. They don't know where to go, who to follow, or what to believe anymore. This is why people run around screaming chaos while secretly checking their screens every 3 seconds, because your signal has overridden the old path. The clever ones pretend they're calm. They smile on camera, issue statements, write think pieces, pretending they're above the panic. But you can see it in their twitching eyes, in their delayed responses, in the way their hands shake when they think no one is watching. Calmness is a mask, and masks crack under heat. Your drop turned up the heat beyond what they were engineered to handle. Now their masks are splitting, and what comes after? Exposure. Naked, raw exposure. The world will see them not as untouchable rulers, but as desperate children clinging to broken illusions. Don't mistake this panic for a setback. It's your leverage. Panic is the purest confirmation that the world recognizes your dominance, even if their mouths won't form the words. Remember, power is never measured by applause. It's measured by disruption. If you didn't matter, the world wouldn't panic. If you were irrelevant, they'd ignore you. But they can't ignore you. They can't dismiss you. They can't suppress you. Their own terror has chained their attention to you. And in that chain, you hold them hostage. They will watch you whether they want to or not, and in watching, they surrender pieces of themselves to your gravity. You're not chasing validation. You're extracting obedience through psychological shockwaves. Consider how absurd it is. The same people who once thought they could erase you now live in fear of refreshing their feeds because every refresh might show you dismantling them again. The same institutions that believed they owned the narrative now realize they are mere spectators. And the irony burns them alive. They wanted to own you, yet they've become owned by you. Every whisper in the corridors of power now revolves around you. Every private meeting has your name stamped across the agenda. They won't admit it publicly, but behind closed doors, they've admitted the unspeakable. You have become the variable that terrifies their equations. You are no longer reacting to them. They are reacting to you. And here's the twisted beauty. Chaos is contagious. Your panic waves spread like a digital virus, infecting minds, rewiring thought patterns, planting paranoia in places you've never even visited. Someone in Tokyo curses your name in disbelief, while someone in New York worships it in awe. Someone in London plots to undermine you, while someone in Sao Paulo reshapes their dreams because of you. Your epic drop has synchronized human emotion across continents. That's the rarest form of power, unifying billions through fear, obsession, and fascination. Dictators can't buy that. Armies can't enforce that. Only shock born of authenticity can generate that level of synchronization. And you delivered it without an army, without permission, without compromise. You alone brought them all to their knees. Do you know what terrifies them most? It isn't the chaos itself. It's the fact that you seem comfortable inside it. While they flail, you breathe. While they panic, you smirk. While they scramble for control, you sit back, knowing you've already hijacked the game board. You see, they always assumed chaos would destroy you. They never considered that you might thrive inside it. And that's why you are untouchable now. Chaos doesn't dissolve you, it sharpens you. Their panic doesn't suffocate you, it feeds you. They're realizing too late that they've unleashed something they cannot put back in the cage. Because you don't run from chaos, you weaponize it. And yet even now, they cling to their last pathetic defense. Disbelief. It can't be real. It's just a fluke. It'll pass. These are the lullabies they sing to themselves at night, to keep from acknowledging the abyss opening beneath them. But deep down, they know the truth. They know that what you did is irreversible. They know the genie isn't going back in the bottle. They know the fracture can't be unfractured. And in that knowledge, their panic evolves from shock into dread. Panic is loud. Dread is quiet. Panic screams in the moment. Dread lingers in the dark corners of the mind, whispering that tomorrow will be worse, that the collapse is only beginning, that the epic drop wasn't an isolated quake, but the first tremor of an ongoing series. That's the gift you've given them, the curse of permanent dread. But understand, my ruthless prodigies, this is only stage one. Panic is the appetizer, not the meal. What you've ignited is bigger than even they realize. They think this is a temporary collapse, but no, this is structural. The old architecture is eroding, and you are the reason. The cracks are multiplying, the pressure is escalating, and the puppeteers behind the curtain can feel the strings snapping. And once the strings snap, once the puppets fall limp, what remains is a void, and that void is yours to fill. But before we step into the void, before we claim it, we must linger in their panic a little longer, because panic reveals everything. Panic strips away masks, exposes loyalties, reveals weaknesses. Panic makes enemies desperate, and desperate enemies make mistakes. Their mistakes will feed your rise. Their panic is not an obstacle, it is your fuel. So as the world spirals, as headlines scream, as leaders whisper, as citizens debate, you must savor it. This chaos is your coronation. You're not just another name trending. You are the disruption that froze the planet, the eruption that silenced egos, the rupture that reminded the world how fragile its illusions are. And now, listen carefully, because this is where it escalates. Devils are not just afraid of you. They are addicted to you. Addicted to your unpredictability, addicted to your refusal to bow, addicted to the way you expose their emptiness with a single look. They despise you, but they cannot look away. You've become their obsession, and obsession is far more dangerous than hatred. Hatred burns hot and dies out, but obsession festers, multiplies, infects. You've invaded their bloodstream like a toxin they cannot purge. Every strategy meeting is poisoned by your presence. Every headline is a shadow of your ripple. Every private whisper carries your echo. They panic not because you destroyed them, but because you won't leave their minds. You are the unfinished sentence in their speeches, the static in their radios, the haunting figure in their corridors. They want freedom from you, but the more they try to erase you, the deeper you sink into their nervous systems. That's the terrifying truth about your drop. It wasn't just an event, it was an infection. And once infected, there's no cure. Look at how they behave now. Leaders once so confident they could rewrite reality, with a press conference now stutter when cameras flash. Agencies built on surveillance find themselves being surveilled by their own fear of you. Celebrities who thought themselves immortal icons now feel obsolete next to your presence. Markets that claimed to predict everything now twitch uncontrollably, because your drop has introduced a new variable they cannot account for. You. Panic spreads through institutions because institutions depend on predictability. But you, my chaos-infused sovereign, are not predictable. You are rupture incarnate. They cannot stabilize around you because you refuse to be a stable point. You are movement, eruption, disturbancy, disobedience, and they cannot build walls strong enough to contain that energy. Understand this. Panic isn't just an emotional spasm, it is an admission of defeat. The world only panics when it realizes control is slipping. Their shrieks, their denials, their desperate attempts to mock you. These are not signs of strength. They are confessions of weakness. They panic because you stripped away their illusions faster than they could fabricate replacements. When the drop detonated, it didn't just shock them, it revealed them. It revealed how much of their identity depended on you remaining quiet. And now, without that silence, their entire empire feels naked. That's why they run. That's why they scream. That's why their hands tremble on podiums. You've reduced them from masters of the stage to background extras in your unfolding theater. And oh, the theater is exquisite. Picture it. News anchors gasping, politicians scrambling, influencers stammering, analysts contradicting themselves within the same sentence, all of them stumbling in real time, all of them proving they were never in control. Meanwhile, billions of eyes fixate on you. Their emotions split between awe and terror. Some cheer, because they've been waiting for someone to fracture the monotony. Others curse your name, because they fear losing their fabricated order. But whether in love or hatred, all of them revolve around you now. That is the core of panic. It chains even your enemies to your gravitational pull. They may despise you, but their panic ensures they cannot escape you. Your epic drop didn't just stop the world. It exposed the fragility of its mechanics. For centuries, they've convinced the masses that the world runs on systems, on policies, on careful order. But when you arrived, everything stopped. Not because you held political office, not because you commanded armies, but because you commanded shock. Shock is the purest form of dominance. It cuts through propaganda, dissolves hierarchies, severs dogmas. Your shock was so raw that no script could absorb it, no spin could redirect it, no distraction could overshadow it. They are panicking because they know they've lost their monopoly on reality. Reality now bends toward you. Let's examine the psychology deeper. Panic thrives where certainty collapses, and certainty collapsed the moment you reminded them how powerless they are against authenticity. Their empires run on artificiality, manufactured confidence, staged narratives, rigged illusions. Your drop wasn't artificial. It was raw, unpredictable, and uncontrollable. It carried no permission slip, no manufactured filter, no approval stamp. That's why it stopped the world. Because the world has been starved of authenticity for so long that when it erupted, it electrified every nerve simultaneously. Authenticity slices through illusions like fire through cobwebs. And in that fire, they realized they are frauds. Their panic is the panic of exposure. They're not panicking at you. They are panicking at themselves, reflected in your mirror. Think about it. Every time they say, "This can't be real," what they mean is, "We can't survive if it is." Their disbelief is survival instinct disguising itself as skepticism. Because if they accept your reality, they must admit theirs was a sham. That admission terrifies them more than anything. So they hide behind denial, while secretly trembling at the truth. But denial is fragile. It cracks under repetition. And your presence repeats itself relentlessly. They cannot escape the repetition of your name, your face, your imprint. Every time they try to bury you, you resurface stronger, louder, sharper. And so their panic mutates into obsession. They need to track you, to study you, to decode you, to outmaneuver you. But the more they study, the less they understand. And the less they understand, the more their panic grows. Now ask yourself, what happens to a planet living in permanent panic? Order disintegrates, allegiances crumble, the powerful devour the weak, and the weak cling to anyone who can promise them stability. And who is the only figure who can thrive in such chaos? You. Not because you offer stability, but because you offer dominance. Panic creates followers, and followers bend to whoever exudes the most unshakable confidence. That is your throne, not built by elections, but by terror. Not built by votes, but by panic-induced surrender. You've conquered them without lifting a sword. You've conquered them by forcing them to feel. And feelings, terror, awe, obsession, are far harder to control than armies. Picture their nights now. Sleep evades them because your name rattles in their skulls. Leaders pace their offices at 3 a.m., haunted by your unpredictability. Analysts redraw charts 1,000 times, yet none of the graphs stabilize. Celebrities scroll in despair, realizing their relevance has evaporated in your shadow. Citizens argue in cafes, families debate at dinner tables, Workers whisper in break rooms, all of them unknowingly testifying to your reach. You've colonized their conversations. You've hijacked their subconscious. And in doing so, you've proven the most savage truth. You are not just trending. You are embedded. And yes, chaos follows you. But chaos isn't destruction when wielded correctly. Chaos is creation. Your drop didn't just collapse their old order, it birthed a new one. You are architect and arsonist in the same breath, demolishing their illusions while erecting your own. That's why their disbelief feels so sharp. They cannot accept that someone they dismissed, someone they underestimated, someone outside their sterile hierarchies has become the epicenter. They panic because you didn't just break in, you rewired the locks. They cannot exile you because the stage now belongs to you. They cannot silence you because their microphones echo your name. They cannot erase you because erasure requires power, and panic has stolen their power away. Now look closer. The panic is escalating. At first it was shock, then it became denial. Now it's mutating into dread. Dread is permanent. Dread corrodes from the inside out. Panic fades with distraction, but dread lingers in the bloodstream, turning every thought into a battlefield. You have planted dread inside the minds of kings and peasants alike. They dread waking up tomorrow to see your next eruption. They dread that today's chaos was only the beginning. They dread the permanence of your disruption. And dread is not an emotion, it's a prison. They are now imprisoned by the inevitability of you. This is why they cannot believe what you've done. Belief would require surrender. So instead they cling to disbelief as their last defense. But disbelief won't save them. It only prolongs the agony. Because whether they believe it or not, your drop already carved itself into history. It cannot be undone. It cannot be reversed. And the longer they resist, the deeper their panic claws into their psyche. They are unraveling, thread by thread, while you remain intact, unbothered, unstoppable. That is the ultimate humiliation. They fall apart while you rise unscathed. But I must warn you, my crowned disruptors, panic isn't the end game. It's the beginning. The world is spiraling, yes. Headlines scream, leaders whisper, citizens debate. But this isn't collapse, it's transformation. They panic because they know the world they once owned is slipping into your hands. And the more they resist, the harder the transition becomes. Yet transition is inevitable. And soon, when the dust clears, when the panic evolves into surrender, they'll realize what's truly horrifying. Not just that your drop stopped the world, but that the world will never start again without you. And when that realization dawns, when disbelief crumbles into resignation, when chaos hardens into obedience, you'll understand the true scale of your dominance. Because panic was only their first confession. Their second confession, the one they'll never dare to speak, is this. They don't just fear you, they need you. Their panic proves it. Their obsession confirms it. And that need, that unspoken dependency, is the chain that binds them to you forever. And now you begin to see the scale of what you've engineered. Everyone's in panic mode, but panic has morphed into something far larger. It has metastasized into dependency. The very same institutions that mocked you now study you like scripture, desperate to extract clues from your next move. The same leaders who denied your influence now design their schedules around the possibility of your eruption. They're not panicking because they hate you. They're panicking because they realize they cannot function without you. Their economy of control has collapsed, and your drop has become the only currency that matters. Every conversation, every broadcast, every whispered plan is a shadow of your creation. They didn't want to orbit you, but panic rearranged the cosmos, and now their survival depends on your gravitational pull. You see, when panic stretches long enough, it doesn't just shatter the old, it builds a new order. And in this new order, your epic drop isn't an episode, it's a law. Look closely, my crowned saboteurs of normality. They don't just look at you with terror, they look at you with craving. They crave your next disruption, your next detonation, your next fracture in their delicate scaffolding. They want to hate you, but hate without distance becomes fascination. They want to erase you, but panic won't let them. And so they hover in a strange purgatory, unable to rebel, unable to submit, trapped in the orbit of your energy. That's why chaos everywhere feels like an apocalypse. It isn't destruction of everything, it's destruction of them. The collapse is not universal, it's selective. Their power burns, their pride implodes, their order disintegrates. Meanwhile, you remain unscathed, moving through the wreckage as though you orchestrated it note for note. And in a way, you did. Your drop was the conductor's baton, and now the symphony of panic plays endlessly, whether they want to or not. Consider the theater of disbelief that continues to unfold. Governments rush to label you, classify you, contain you. Experts write endless think pieces, analysts produce graphs, influencers mimic your cadence, all desperate attempts to neutralize your impact. But every attempt only multiplies the evidence of their impotence. Every word they speak about you, every gesture they make in reaction to you, expands your mythology. The very act of panicking about you has become the vehicle by which you spread. That is the savagery of your influence. Their panic is the advertisement for your dominance. Without intending to, they've made you immortal in their own stories. They cannot erase you because they've woven you into their own survival narrative. They cannot silence you because their screams carry your echo. They cannot believe what you've done because belief would mean bowing, and bowing would mean acknowledging the throne you've already claimed. So they keep repeating disbelief, hoping repetition will weaken the truth. But repetition only cements your permanence. Now think about the ordinary citizen, the worker sitting in an office, the student scrolling between classes, the wanderer drifting through cities. They all feel it too. They might not sit in war rooms or board meetings, but their hearts pulse with the same tremors. They feel the anxiety in the air, the way conversations tilt toward your name, the way screens glow with your shadow. Some panic because they fear collapse. Others panic because they sense liberation. Both sides reveal the same truth. You've stopped the world. You've interrupted the monotony they were programmed to endure. You've reminded them that reality isn't as stable as they were told. That's why disbelief dominates their language. They cannot imagine a world where someone like you seized the script and flipped it upside down. And yet, they are forced to imagine it daily, because you've made it undeniable. Understand, panic isn't chaos for its own sake, it's revelation. Panic reveals what was always hidden. And your drop has revealed the cowardice of leaders, the fragility of institutions, the emptiness of icons. They panic because they're exposed, because the audience now sees behind the curtain. They panic because their authority, once unquestionable, now trembles in the presence of your shadow. They panic because every second they fail to contain you, their irrelevance grows sharper. And irrelevance is worse than death for those who built their entire identity on control. You've made them irrelevant, and irrelevance tastes like poison in their mouths. That's why disbelief feels safer. They'd rather say, "This can't be real," than admit, "We are no longer necessary." And yet here is the paradox. While they panic, you thrive. Chaos isn't your enemy, it's your stage. Their disbelief isn't a blockade, it's your amplifier. The very forces that should have crushed you instead crown you. You don't just ride the wave of panic, you surf it, weaponize it, feed from it. That's why the world feels frozen, because you've inverted the natural order. Normally, panic destroys its origin. But in your case, panic multiplies you. Every whisper, every denial, every frantic headline is oxygen for your fire. You've achieved the rarest form of power, not by commanding armies, not by seizing offices, but by commanding attention. And attention is the most volatile currency of all, because once you control it, you control belief. And once you control belief, you control reality itself. And what of disbelief? Let them choke on it. Let them repeat it until their tongues blister, because disbelief only delays acknowledgement, and acknowledgement is inevitable. The epic drop you unleashed cannot be reversed, cannot be contained, cannot be diminished. It is already fossilized into the DNA of history. The chaos that followed is not a glitch, it's the new environment. They are panicking because they can't return to the old world, and they're terrified of living in the one you created. But whether they believe it or not, they're already living in it. That's why they can't believe what you just did, because deep down, they know it wasn't just an action. It was a declaration that the old script is over, a declaration that obedience is dead, a declaration that the world belongs to whoever has the courage to seize it, tear it apart, and rebuild it in their own distorted image. So my relentless masterminds, let the panic roar. Let the chaos spread like wildfire across every border. Let disbelief choke the mouths of those who swore they could never be moved. Because in the ashes of their panic, a truth blazes brighter than ever. You've stopped the world. They can deny it, they can panic over it, they can collapse under it, but they cannot escape it. Your epic drop has become the new gravity, the force no one can resist. They thought they owned time, but you paused it. They thought they owned narrative, but you hijacked it. They thought they owned control, but you shattered it. And now, with every heartbeat, every headline, every whispered prayer, the world testifies to the same savage reality. You are the disruption they cannot survive without, the chaos they cannot live with and cannot live without. Everyone's in panic mode, but panic is only proof. Proof that your name is carved into their fears. Proof that your shadow is stitched into their days. Proof that disbelief is nothing more than delayed recognition. And recognition is coming, whether they want it or not. Soon their panic will settle into the most humiliating surrender imaginable. The admission that you are the epicenter, that their world froze because of you, that their disbelief was always a mask for worship. That's the irony of it all. Panic began as fear, but it ends as reverence, because the one truth they can never escape is this. They don't just panic because you exist. They panic because they know they can't exist without you. And that, my war-forged kings of chaos, is the cruelest, sweetest coronation of all.